It's the season to dust off old interviews from the favorite holiday film of this century. Some questionable haircuts while we talk with Will Ferrel and the Mandalorian director-creator Jon Favreau about Elf. Also, do you remember the way planes, trains, and automobiles made you feel at the end?
Those aren't pillows.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, never mind. We're talking with the stars of the new movie, Half Brothers, because it's got the same feels. And we rounded up the cast. Also, it's the most heartwarming thrasher metal movie you'll ever see. Probably the only heartwarming thrasher metal movie you'll ever see. Talking with the Sound of Metal star, Riz Ahmed. Also, Tara Hitchcock rounds up George Clooney to talk about fake global crisis, because that's so much better than real global crisis. We got that and more, talking Midnight Sky on this Extra Butter. Hey, there you are. You're back and you found Extra Butter, our very special holiday edition. It's not special. I just grabbed this as I walked up the stairs to remind you that it is the holidays. Actually, coming up in a little bit, Will Ferrel talking about Elf, so there's that. It's kind of holiday-ish. But right now, let's get right to what's new for you to watch at home, since that's pretty much where you are right now. Can I give you some George Clooney? Let's break off a sample of this.
Is anyone out there?
It's The Midnight Sky. George Clooney's latest sci-fi effort streaming on screens of various sizes everywhere. I love this movie. Well, I like this movie. It's written by the guy who also wrote The Revenant, and it's very rugged in that way. With more on it, the lovely, the talented Tara Hitchcock, ladies and gentlemen.
Mark, I can't believe you forgot to tell me this is the holiday edition. I had a whole backdrop with Christmas lights and all kinds of stuff, and I just took it down.
Where's your Santa hat? Where's your springy thing that says joyful and triumphant?
I have this Mickey hat with my husband's name embroidered on it. Does that count?
Okay, that'll work. All right, you know what? And I think, ladies, if you're ever to talk about your moments with George Clooney, you should probably be wearing your husband on the head or your significant other if you're married. Gentlemen as well. All right, Terry, you hung out with George Clooney. How'd that go down?
Well, he's, people always ask us who's your favorite person to interview. He makes the top 3 every single time. You and I have been very fortunate to chat with him over the years. He's always fantastic. But here's the interesting thing. I watched this movie, believe it or not, with this guy, my husband, Ken. And I have to tell you, that was kind of a mistake. First of all, the first thing out of my husband's mouth was, man, he looks old. How old is he? I think I stop. Don't get distracted. He looks old intentionally. He's a lone scientist on Iceland. He's by himself. He's stressed out. The world is falling to crap. He's trying to warn astronauts not to come back to Earth. Clearly, he's going to age a little bit. But I think my husband's little snarky comments throughout ruined the experience. So I watched it a second time by myself and really liked it. I like this movie, but what I really liked was talking to George about pranks. His co-star in the film is a young unknown actress from Ireland. Her name's Caelan Springall, I think. He found her, auditioned a ton of people. She has one line in the entire movie, and she's excellent. She's so expressive. And there's a scene in the film, well, you'll see. I asked George about it, and somehow it ended up in this very funny story about his kids. Take a look. There's an amazing moment with Caelan that takes place at a kitchen, and I just love this scene. I don't want to give anything away, but is there something kind of silly that you do with your kids that gets them every time, that just makes them giggle?
Well, yeah, we do a lot of like insane stuff with the kids now because I teach them pranks to go play on their mother. And yesterday was the newest one, which is I take a little bit of banana and I smash it up, and then I put it in a napkin. And then Alexander, who's 3, who loves it, goes over and stands next to his mother. And I'm in the other room, and he goes like this. He pretends to blow his nose. And he opens it up, and I told him, don't look up, just look at it, and then eat it. And he eats it. And from outside the kitchen, I just hear my wife go, no! Enjoy.
Okay, I had to laugh out loud. There's a scene with Felicity and David. The first time you kind of see them, she's ticked off because she had a dream that he left her on K23 and she's not speaking to him. I hate to admit this, but that's happened where I'll have a dream and I'm ticked at my husband so we don't talk the next day. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, it happens all the time. I had one the other day. My wife woke up and she said, I had a dream about you. And then she got up and went to make coffee. And I was like, I didn't do it. I'm innocent.
I love knowing that the Clooney household operates like all the other households in the world. That is such a normal relationship. All right, now let's talk about the theme of this movie. Now, in just 29 years, they're saying that global warming will be such that we can't really inhabit the Earth. Did you find that at this time where we're really waiting for the clouds to clear and everything to be okay with the world, it's a little bit depressing to be hitting this message that might not be incorrect?
Well, to be honest with you, I almost looked at it as, man, we thought things were bad now. I actually like the escapism of things are much worse in this film because it put things into perspective and made me appreciate that things could be even worse than what they are now. I thought, talk about timely, just the whole concept of isolation and connection. That to me is what got me. And I thought the scenes with him and this young actress were my favorite.
Another thing I liked about it, I think I mentioned it's written by the guy who wrote The Revenant. And much like that Leo DiCaprio film, where you feel cold when you're watching that movie. I love the moments that are not CG, where he's really in the environment, and you can tell he's as cold as he looks there.
Yeah, and he's talked about shooting some of those scenes in an actual ice storm. He's talked about how his eyelids actually froze shut. They had to keep using heaters and stuff. In fact, here's the irony. My friend Oscar from Ice Guides in Iceland was actually on that crew in Iceland and was up there with George and the entire cast and crew trying to scout different ice cave locations, making sure that they were all safe. But Oscar confirmed, the weather conditions, while in general were pretty favorable, because Iceland isn't always the easiest place to shoot, there was that storm that really caused some problems, but he used it to his advantage.
I love your interviews. I love your reviews. Where do we find you if we stalk you on social media, Tara Hitchcock?
At Tara on TV, Facebook and Instagram, and at Tara TV1 on Twitter, Mark.
Keep wearing that hat. Happy holidays to you.
You too.
All right, there you go. Midnight Sky now streaming on Netflix. All right, back to the theaters. When we come back, the star of Hap Brothers on the few screens that are open. It's open, and it's now headed to streaming video on demand everywhere. We'll catch up with each of the Hap Brothers and a goat next.
Extra Butter and the Salvation Army encourage you to help make this season bright for everyone. This holiday season, families are more in need than ever. So while you're poking around online for a movie, won't you also give virtually? It's easy, and a gift of $25 provides a toy for 2 children this Christmas. Visit abc10.com/redkettle to donate now.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Extra Butter. Hope you're hanging on. Don't sniff the snowman. Yes, no sniffing the... and that goes for you too. No sniffing the snowman. I have no idea what that means. How's it going? If you by chance made it to a movie theater that was open, maybe over the weekend you saw Hap Brothers. Either way, you're about to enjoy it streaming on all video on demand platforms. It is a beautiful movie. Think back to trains, planes, and automobiles. Remember how that looked like just a goofy, throwaway, disposable buddy picture, and then all of a sudden it became something a little bit deeper? Much in the same way is this. It stars Cano Del Rio and Luis Gerardo Mendez as 2 guys who find out that indeed they are Hap brothers from different continents, for reasons you'll understand once you've seen the movie. I caught up with them to talk about it. This movie is hysterical for reasons we'll get into in a minute, but also there's a great message about unity and one-worldness, and also accepting both cultures in both countries. Can you talk about how this movie is going to get under the skin and be with people for a long time?
Of course, yeah. We really wanted to use these 2 characters as vehicles to talk about that. Like each character represents a country. We wanted to talk about the differences between the United States and Mexico, but also about all the things we have in common, which, by the way, are a lot. So this film is also about empathy. It's about relationship between fathers and sons and siblings. And again, I think the most important thing about this film is empathy, which is a really, really important thing right now in the world with everything that's happening.
It is a beautiful thing, and it's one of my favorite things about this movie. I knew the movie was going to be funny just based on the trailer, but I didn't realize that I was going to be weeping at times during this movie, and then at the same time, I was going to pick up the phone and call people that need to get this message to see this movie.
That's beautiful to hear. Thanks so much, Mark.
I was just going to say, I think a comedy without heart is useless. Like, you need that, it makes me so happy to know that people on our set in certain scenes would come out when we yelled cut and they were crying, so it's really magical to be a part of that.
Amen. Now, to book in that discussion, can I borrow you for a second? I've got a prop because I've got to ask you a question.
Okay.
How many hours a day were you doing this cover? How tired were your arms at the end of the day?
My God, Mark, I'm so pissed that we didn't cast you for the role.
Yeah, that's
That could have been a stunt double. We need a stunt goat carrier. All right.
I was gonna say that was great. That was a great impression. That looked exactly like I did running with that goat.
Homage.
Yeah, it took Connor like 20 different takes to do it, and you did the first one.
All right, we're going to wrap it up soon. So quickly, each of you tell me your favorite scene. Do not miss this moment. Connor?
Okay, favorite scene is the campfire scene. I can't say a lot about it, but it's one of the most connective moments that I just cherish.
I don't want to do any spoilers to the audience, so just watch Half Brothers and enjoy the ride with the goat. That's all you need to know.
Amen, brother. Peace to you. Next time I want to talk to the two of you and your goat brother.
Thank you.
You were awesome. Thanks for being my stand-in goat. I appreciate you more than ever. Remember back when I used to do a show and I talked to people? Yeah, okay. Hey, the movie is really great. And by the way, I'd love to treat some of you to my lovely Half Brothers lunchbox. Would you like a road trip box? I got it for you. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram at TVMarcusAllen. Look for that in the post. All right, when we come back, The Sound of Metal. Riz Ahmed just might be up for an Oscar for this. I will chat with him about it next. All right, don't do that. We don't like it when you... Oh, hey, welcome back to Extra Butter. It's a show where we talk about movies and potty train our animals. Hope you're doing the same at home. All right, moving on. The Sound of Metal. This movie is remarkable. It's streaming now on Amazon. It stars Riz Ahmed in what just might be an Academy Award-worthy performance from him. Guarantee you it's worthy. Whether it gets the nod or not, yet to be seen. Because this movie deals with rehabilitation, with someone who's lost their way, trying to get back. Believe me, I can relate to that. And you can too. We talked. Take a look. Riz, I'm not alone in saying this might be one of the best movies of the year, and without doubt, one of the best performances I've seen in a long, long time. Awesome.
Thank you so much. It's very kind of you.
Talk about the genesis of it for you. When did you first get the call? What were your first thoughts going into it?
I met with Darius and he said, listen, I'm interested in talking to you about this, but everything's going to be for real. The drumming's going to be for real. The signing's going to be for real. Are you down to go on that journey? And I leapt at the opportunity, to be honest. I knew it would be an enormous challenge, but I also knew it would be really enriching. And one of the things I love about this job is how much you get to learn and how you get to step into new worlds. So yeah, it was a 7-month process of learning how to play the drums and learning sign language, which at times, I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to get there, but thankfully I had amazing teachers who were guiding me.
How exciting was it to watch, but more importantly, hear the sound design finish on this film?
Yeah, well, the sound design in this film is really, really unique because, usually you finish a take on a movie set and then they say, okay, let's do a wild track, which means a sound recordist comes in and you do all the dialogue again, just in case there was a bus or an airplane, going past at that time. On this movie, after every take, the sound designer would put a microphone against my chest and say, swallow. Now breathe, now blink, now lick your lips. And the reason for that is the sound design in this movie is like from inside my character's head. As he loses his hearing, you as an audience member will also experience that kind of soundscape. I'm not exaggerating when I say I think they started on the sound design 2 years before they started the movie. There was really something else,
Well, it's second only to your performance. So brilliant. And when I look to see, hey, when does this open? And I think everything happens for a reason. I celebrate 5 years of sobriety. So this is why I'm sobbing at the end of this movie. It's beautiful.
Oh, amazing. Congratulations, brother. That's amazing. Yeah.
Thanks, man. And same back to you. Good luck in everything. Good guy and amazing actor Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal in an Oscar-worthy performance. Check it out streaming right now on Amazon and Amazon Prime. All right, when we come back, 'tis the season for me to tell you about my favorite holiday movie of this century. You pretty much already know, it's Elf. Yeah, I'm talking to Jon Favreau about the creation of this and Will Ferrell about his buddy next. Hey, welcome back to Extra Butter. When we first started off, I said it was going to be a holiday special, and I lied. It's not. But I am talking about my favorite Christmas movie of this century. That would be Will Ferrell's Elf. I can tell you some stuff about making this movie in 2002. The only shots really filmed in New York City were Buddy just walking around. Will Ferrell really just rode around town with Jon Favreau in the back of a cab and jumped out and handed people cash to be extras in those scenes. Other stuff I can tell you, the cotton ball that he eats during that scene was just cotton candy that hadn't been dyed yet. When they're shooting that scene, he actually vomited from eating the pasta, and they had to do a retake, almost causing his young co-stars to vomit as well. All right, enough about the vomit. No vomiting for you either. I had a chance to catch up with Will Ferrell and the cast in the North Pole, and by the North Pole I mean Vancouver. That's right, with the exception of the aforementioned New York scenes, the rest of this movie, like this office scene that I love, shot entirely in Vancouver. Caught up with Will Ferrell and the Uber director Jon Favreau to talk about it. Take a look.
Hey, good to see you.
Great to see you too.
As you marched in the room, I heard you chanting, "This is going to be the best interview ever."
Absolutely. This is. I'm putting all my energy into this next 6 minutes.
You just feel it? You feel that it's going to be the best?
Now I'm way too nervous because I set up the expectation.
And also you put all the pressure on me. I didn't
Right,
even have
I know.
questions. How can you say it's going to be the best interview? I got nothing to ask.
But look, we got a tiny little chair there.
Yeah, did you get to keep any of the furniture, any of the props?
I actually redesigned my house. I got so used to ducking and being in small, cozy spaces that
Right.
I built a one room that's miniature.
So when you're in full-size, normal-size rooms, you're a little ill at
I
ease.
I feel agoraphobic.
Right.
Yes.
Now, talk about making this movie, because I've got a lot of friends that are into running and racing, and you're training for the Boston Marathon while you're making this movie.
That's right. I was actually after a long day of shooting, I would be on a treadmill running 13 miles.
Does it make you a better actor?
No, it actually hurt my acting. It helped me. I was able to stay svelte to fit in my
Elf-like.
my elf outfit.
Making sure you're bulging in only the right
Only
places.
the right
in
places.
the leotards.
Yes, it helps. When you're wearing tights, it helps to keep the weight off. Yeah.
Love the movie. You haven't seen it with an audience yet.
I
but
haven't,
but
yeah.
It would be a treat for you. This is one of the
Oh,
best
good.
Christmas movies ever made, and I'm
Great.
not just saying that because I'm
I
sitting.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's got this sort of familial feel. The moment, I mean, from the opening credits on, you feel like it takes you back to your childhood. Almost.
That's great because that's kind of what we were hoping to try to do, and we wanted to try to do obviously a family comedy that would kind of harken back to those classic Christmas films that you see. In addition to we kind of steal a page from the Rudolph specials in terms of set design and some of the animation we
Claymation,
use,
right.
yeah, and things like that. So I'm glad to hear that it's like I'm kind of a merging of old and new. Yeah.
At this stage in the game, do you ever get geeked out over other actors? Like when you're sitting on the set with like the likes of Ed Asner and Bob Newhart, you go, I used to watch you all the time.
Completely. I didn't. I just tried not to ask them too many stupid questions. So I would. I just kind of sit and listen and get them coffee.
Sure.
Right. Sandwiches, anything they wanted. I was thankful they were doing our movie.
You sit on a throne of lies.
I always say the best movies come out of the pure stuff. Whenever a filmmaker has a vision and they're a funny, edgy, comedic person to begin with, and then they just turn themselves loose to make a movie that they would watch. And I get the feeling this is the kind of movie you'd watch.
It is. It really is a film that was exciting to me when I read the original draft of the script, when I pictured Will in that thing, and then over the course of making it, the amount of care we put into developing the script and working on the special effects, the costumes, the way we're going to characterize it. It was an incredibly collaborative process, and we were really excited about it. And the trick was, to make it a movie that we would like, because, kids will come to see awful movies.
Sure.
The trick was to make it a movie that the grown-ups wanted to see and could stand up next to the other, shoulder to shoulder with the other comedies that are out there.
And it's got to be a tough balance, too, bringing the heartwarming nature of it, because it does have good spirit, and it
Yeah.
ends with good cheer. But at the same time, it's got some pretty comedic punch to it.
Yeah, you want to make his life really hard, as a big guy in an elf suit in New York, and
Sure.
really hard as a guy who's twice as big as he should be in the North Pole.
Right.
So that's a lot of the fun, was sort of torturing Buddy the elf throughout the course of the movie, this incredibly earnest, optimistic, excited guy, and just taking it to him. And then the other fun part is eventually winning everybody around him over. And in the tradition of great Christmas movies, have everybody sort of come together and support this sort of fish out of water, this outsider that doesn't fit in.
At this stage in the game, do you still find yourself kind of getting geeked out over people you grew up with? Like just sitting across from Bob Newhart moments ago, I almost like curled up in the corner going, that's Bob
Isn't
Newhart.
it amazing? You know, in Bob Newhart, what's so great is the movie starts, you open up and you see Bob Newhart in an elf costume in the North Pole doing a monologue.
Doesn't get better
Isn't
than
that great? I mean, if that doesn't set up the audience, especially people my age, if that doesn't set up you as to what this movie's going to be about, it's like you're off to the races right off the bat.
Sure.
And he's so dry and so funny. And with Bob Newhart as well as Ed Asner, these are people who have like TV personas that we grew up with. So there's a nostalgic feel to the film right off the bat. But they're two actors that have an incredible, you have empathy for. They have such heart and such humanity that you believe the relationship that Buddy has, that Will Ferrell has with these guys.
Sure.
And it really warms up the film and makes you feel emotionally invested in this story from the beginning.
It's phenomenal.
Great.
Thanks for making this movie.
Thanks.
Sorry to sound cliche, but that, my friends, is a classic. Did you know 10 years after he made that movie, in 2013, Will Ferrell was offered $29 million for an Elf 2, and he said, no, leave it alone. It stands as it is, a classic. All right, for more behind the scenes and trivia and interviews from Elf and all my other holiday movies, be sure and like and subscribe on YouTube. It's Extra Butter. Follow me on Facebook, Mark S. Allen Show, and on Instagram, TV Mark S. Allen. Did you get all that? Did you get all that? All right, before we wrap it up, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loudly for all to hear. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. I think I just got some tongue. No more, no more, no more. Wrap it up.